Okay, I hope you guys all enjoyed that story. That's definitely one of my favorite Mo Willems books that I've read. I love looking at the stars in the sky at night sometimes. I'll go outside and look up at the sky and see all the pretty stars. So I thought it was really cool that that was the surprise that Piggy had for Gerald at the end of the story. If you guys have never gone outside at night and looked up at the sky, you guys should maybe check that out tonight. See if you can see any stars. They can be really, really pretty sometimes. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the similarities and the differences we saw between Waiting is Not Easy and Knuffle Bunny that we read yesterday. So the first thing I want to talk about is the characters. Were they the same or were they different in each story? What do you guys think? Okay, so they were different characters, right? So in Knuffle Bunny, we had Trixie, Trixie's mom, and Trixie's dad. And then in Waiting is Not Easy, we had Gerald and Piggy. This can be, sometimes Mo Willems in his books does use the same characters for more than one book. So some of his books may have the same characters in them, in which case that would be a similarity. But in this case, when we're comparing these two books, it's going to be a difference. Okay, next we have setting. Were these two books set in the same place or in different places? Remember, setting is when and where a story takes place. Neither of these stories told us when they take place, so let's just think about where. Okay. I think they take place in different settings. So Knuffle Bunny, like we talked about yesterday, mostly takes place at a laundromat, and it seems like in a city. Waiting is Not Easy. It seems to take place outside. I concluded that it took place outside because of the surprise at the end. It was looking at the stars in the sky. So you would probably have to be outside to look at the stars. And then I also think it took place at night. Well, I guess the beginning of the story did take place throughout the day, but the main surprise at the end was definitely at night. You could see the night sky in the illustration, and that's when you can see the stars in the sky at nighttime. Okay, next, is the problem the same or different in these two stories? Think back to Knuffle Bunny and remember what the problem was, and then try to think about this problem and see if you think they're the same or different. Okay, so I think they were different problems in both stories. So for Knuffle Bunny, if you remember back to yesterday, the main problem was that Trixie left Knuffle Bunny at the laundromat. And then today, in Waiting is Not Easy, the main problem was that Gerald didn't want to wait for the surprise. So those aren't the same problem. They're totally different. Now, with every problem, we usually have a solution. So were the solutions to those two problems the same or different? Okay, I think it seemed like they had very different solutions. So Knuffle Bunny, the solution that we talked about yesterday, was that Trixie and her parents go back to the laundromat and find Knuffle Bunny, and she's happy again and all is well. In Waiting is Not Easy, it's a little bit of a different solution. Piggy explains to Gerald that they have to wait for the surprise because it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it in the end. It'll be worth the wait. So those are different solutions. Okay, so we've talked about all differences so far. Let's see if we can get some similarities. What about the author and the illustrator? Were they the same for both books or were they different? So this is the first thing. So they had the same author and illustrator. So that's a similarity. Both books were written and illustrated by Mo Willems, just like every book that we've read this week. So all the books we've read this week are similar in that way. They all have the same author and illustrator. All right, so great job with that. And then last thing, we just have another lunch doodle today. This one, Mo Willems will teach you how to draw Piggy. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Have a great night, guys.